Most people hear the word budget and immediately think of restriction, cutting things out, saying no, living on rice and beans until further notice. But that's not what a good budget actually is. A good budget isn't about taking things away. It's about making sure the things you actually care about are planned for and paid for without stress or debt. Today, we're going to talk about how budgeting gives you the freedom to enjoy life, things like vacations, holidays, home projects, personal goals, without ever having to put it on a credit card and regret about it later. Welcome back to Compounding with Kelly, where we compound some miles and our money. Let's start at the beginning, because you cannot do any of this without knowing where your money is going first. That's what a monthly budget does. It is the single most important first step in personal finance. Before you can save for a vacation, before you can decide how much you want to invest, before you can plan for anything, you need a clear, honest picture of what comes in and what goes out every single month. Most people have a rough idea of their income, but expenses, that's where things get fuzzy. Subscriptions you forgot about, takeout that adds up faster than you think, random purchases that might seem small individually, but total something surprising at the end of the month. A budget forces all that into the light. You sit down, you list every single expense, rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, subscriptions, everything, and you subtract it from your take-home income. What's left is yours to work with. That number, whatever it is your starting point for everything that comes next. And here's why this matters beyond more than just the number. When you can see exactly where every dollar is going, you can make intentional decisions about it. Maybe you find $200 a month going places that you generally don't matter to you. That $200 a month going places that don't matter to you can be funding a vacation. It can be building your investment account. It could be going towards a home project you've been putting off for 2 years. The budget doesn't restrict that money. It redirects it towards things that you actually care about. Once you know your monthly cash flow, the next decision is how much to invest. And this is a step a lot of people skip entirely or put off indefinitely. But it needs to happen before you start allocating your money towards lifestyle goals. Retirement savings aren't optional, in my opinion. Your future self is counting on money your current self sets aside consistently over decades. And as we talked about in other videos, the cost of waiting even a few years is enormous. So before you build out your fund and your savings goals, make sure you have a comfortable, sustaining investment contribution automated every single month. It doesn't have to be the maximum amount available. It just has to be consistent and something you don't touch. Pay your future self first, then plan the rest of your life around what remains. Now here's the part most budget conversations skip over entirely. And it's honestly the most important part of enjoying your actual life. Once your essentials are covered and your investing is taken care of, the next thing your budget needs to account for is the stuff that makes life worth living. Vacations, hobbies, gifts for the people you love, home improvements, personal goals. These things are not luxuries. They are a normal, healthy part of life. And if you don't plan for them in your budget, one of two things happens. You either go into debt to pay for them, or you just never do them and quietly resent the fact that money always seems to get in the way. Neither of those outcomes are acceptable, and neither has to happen if you plan ahead. This is where a concept called sinking funds comes in, and it's one of the most practical budgeting tools that exists. A sinking fund is simply a dedicated savings bucket for a specific goal. Instead of one big savings account where everything piles together, you create separate allocations for separate purposes. One for your summer vacation, one for holiday gifts, one for the fence you want to put up in the backyard, or one for home repair you know that's coming. Each month, you set amount flows into each one of these buckets automatically, quietly building toward the goal in the background while you go about your life. And here's why this works so well. When you spread the cost of a big purchase over 12 months of smaller contributions, it stops being a financial event and becomes just another line in your budget. A $2,000 vacation that feels impossible to pay for all at once becomes $170 a month if you start planning 11 months ahead. A $1,500 holiday season with gifts, travel, food, all of it becomes $125 a month if you start in January. The math is simple. The impact on your stress level is enormous. And the best part, when the moment actually arrives, the money is already there. You don't have to think about it, scramble for it, or put money on a card and pay interest on a trip you took 6 months ago. But not everything needs to be in a sinking fund with its own dedicated bucket. But anything you know is coming and costs more than a month's worth of casual saving deserves one. A fence, a new appliance, a milestone birthday trip, annual insurance premiums, those are all predictable. Predictable expenses that catch you off guard are just expenses you didn't plan for. A sinking fund fixes that. And here's a mindset shift that ties this all together. Not every dollar you save needs to go towards retirement. Yes, retirement savings are non-negotiable and should always come first in my opinion. But beyond that, saving for the life you want to live right now is just as valid and just as important. The goal is never to go into debt for normal, predictable purchases. A vacation is not an emergency. A new fence is not a surprise. Holiday gifts happen every single year on the same date. These things are plannable, and anything plannable should be planned for. A good budget doesn't ask you to choose between enjoying your life today and securing your future. It creates a structure where both happen at the same time, on purpose, without stress. You invest consistently, you save for the things that matter, and when the moment comes, the beach trip, like I'm on right now, the party, the project, you show up for it fully, without a credit card bill waiting for you on the other side. That's what budgeting for your life actually looks like. Not restriction, freedom. If this helped you think about your money differently, drop a comment with the first sinking fund you're going to start. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for tuning in. Same pace next time. Keep compounding.